Dreams reflect the unconscious mind, serving as a window into the hidden layers of human thought, emotion, and experience that lie beneath the surface of waking awareness. Every night, as consciousness drifts into the quiet theater of sleep, the mind continues to work in silence, weaving stories that express what reason and restraint cannot. The unconscious speaks in the language of images, sensations, and symbols, and through dreams it tells the truth that waking life often conceals. In the daylight, people wear masks, follow rules, suppress emotions, and silence instincts to survive within the structure of society. But at night, the mind is liberated from those constraints. The dream becomes a sacred space where everything that has been buried, the repressed, the forgotten, the feared, the desired, finds expression through scenes, characters, and emotions that seem mysterious but are deeply personal. When the unconscious mind expresses itself through dreams, it doesn't use direct logic or literal language. Instead, it creates images charged with emotion and meaning. A locked door might symbolize a blocked memory. An endless staircase might represent ambition or anxiety. A dark forest might mirror confusion or fear of the unknown. These are not random creations. They are reflections of the hidden inner world, the psychological undercurrent that guides thoughts and behaviors without being consciously acknowledged. The dream, therefore, functions as a mirror of the soul, showing the dreamer the parts of themselves they might not want to see, yet must confront in order to grow. The unconscious is not the enemy of reason, but its shadow companion, shaping perception, intuition, and creativity from behind the scenes. Dreams have a therapeutic quality because they bridge the divide between what one knows and what one refuses to know. The unconscious mind holds not only repressed emotions, but also wisdom, potential, and creativity. It gathers fragments of experience, unresolved emotions, and unmet desires, and weaves them into symbols that demand attention. When a person dreams of falling, it may represent a loss of control. When they fly, it may signify freedom or transcendence. The unconscious uses these experiences to balance the conscious mind, to compensate for what is missing in waking life. If someone is rigid and controlled during the day, their dreams may overflow with chaos, rebellion, or wild emotion. If they live in fear or uncertainty, their dreams might present scenarios of power, confidence, or mastery. In this way, the dream restores inner equilibrium, allowing the psyche to maintain harmony between its hidden and visible sides. Every emotion suppressed during the day finds its echo in the dream. The unconscious does not forget. It records every hurt feeling, every word left unsaid, every fear ignored. When the conscious mind insists on silence, the unconscious whispers louder. It transforms those silences into symbols that demand interpretation. A dream about drowning might not literally mean danger, but may symbolize being overwhelmed by unexpressed emotions. A dream about searching for someone could signify the longing for connection or understanding. The unconscious mind cannot lie because it does not operate under social rules or rational masks. It reveals the truth of one's internal landscape, whether that truth is comfortable or not. The unconscious also holds the wisdom of instinct and intuition. Many creative discoveries, artistic visions, and spiritual revelations have emerged from dreams because they connect the individual to a deeper current of intelligence. Artists, inventors, and thinkers throughout history have turned to their dreams for guidance, realizing that the dream world transcends the limitations of logic. The dreamer who learns to listen to these messages gains access to a form of knowledge that is emotional, symbolic, and profoundly transformative. The unconscious mind, through dreams, acts as both teacher and messenger, revealing what logic alone cannot grasp. Dreams also reveal the ongoing dialogue between different parts of the psyche. Within each person exists a spectrum of identities. The persona that faces the world, the shadow that hides behind it, the inner child, the lover, the critic, the seeker. Dreams bring these figures to life as characters, each representing an aspect of the self. When you argue with someone in a dream, you may be witnessing an inner conflict between opposing desires or beliefs. When you comfort another, you might be offering compassion to your own neglected parts. The dream transforms psychological tension into narrative form, allowing the mind to process and integrate it symbolically. This internal theater helps maintain psychological balance, even when the conscious mind resists change. The unconscious is timeless, often blending fragments of past, present, and potential future into a single dream. Childhood memories might reappear alongside recent events, creating surreal juxtapositions that reflect the continuity of inner experience. The mind uses this blending to reveal how old patterns continue to shape current emotions. For example, dreaming of being scolded by a teacher might not refer to a literal memory, but could symbolize how authority or judgment still affects one's self-worth. Through such imagery, the unconscious links old wounds to new circumstances, urging awareness and transformation. Dreams, then, are more than mere fantasy. They are the psyche's attempt to communicate. They carry meaning in every symbol, tone, and image. They emerge from the deepest strata of the mind, where logic dissolves and feeling reigns. To reflect on a dream is to hold a mirror to the soul, to witness the quiet workings of the inner self. The unconscious mind is vast, mysterious, and often unsettling, but it is also the source of renewal and understanding. By observing dreams, one begins to decode the language of the hidden self, gaining insight into motives, fears, and desires that shape behavior and emotion. The dream becomes not an escape from reality, but a deeper encounter with it. An unfiltered reflection of the mind's true state, where every image carries the voice of the unseen self speaking in the only language it knows. Every person who appears in your dream represents an aspect of you, a reflection of the inner world projected outward through the faces and figures that populate the landscape of your unconscious mind. When you dream of someone, it is rarely about that individual in the literal sense. Rather, it is about the qualities, emotions, or unresolved dynamics that person symbolizes within you. The dream transforms inner material into external images, giving form to what cannot be directly seen or named. This is why even strangers in dreams can feel strangely familiar, as though they carry a part of your own essence, and why those you know intimately often behave differently in dreams, revealing not their true nature, but the meaning they hold within your psyche. In the waking world, identity appears separate and fixed. Yet within the dream, those boundaries dissolve. The unconscious does not see others as independent figures, but as reflections of the dreamer's inner life. When a friend, parent, lover, or enemy appears, they embody traits or emotions you are being called to recognize in yourself. The angry figure may represent repressed frustration, the nurturing one your capacity for care, the betrayer your fear of vulnerability, the stranger your unexplored potential. Each interaction is a mirror showing you who you are, who you have been, or who you might become. The dream uses familiar forms to express unfamiliar truths, turning the people you know into symbols of the psychological forces moving within you. This inner mirroring explains why the emotional tone of a dream matters more than the literal event. If you feel comforted by someone's presence, it may signal an inner reconciliation with that aspect of yourself. If you feel fear or conflict, it may indicate resistance or denial. A dream about arguing with a friend might reflect a hidden argument within. A clash between reason and desire, duty and freedom, trust and doubt. The people who populate your dreams act out these tensions, allowing the unconscious to stage the conflicts that the conscious mind avoids. Through them, the psyche releases pressure, expresses complexity, and seeks balance. Dream figures also reveal how the dreamer perceives different sides of themselves. When you admire someone in your dream, you are often admiring a trait you possess but have not fully owned. The confident colleague might represent your own latent courage, the wise mentor your inner guidance, the loving partner your capacity for connection. Conversely, when you fear or despise a figure in your dream, it may signal an encounter with your shadow, the rejected or suppressed parts of your personality. The jealous friend, the dishonest stranger, the manipulative authority figure may all reflect qualities you deny but unconsciously carry. The dream does not judge, it simply mirrors. It brings both light and darkness to awareness, asking you to acknowledge the full range of what lives within you. Even those who have passed away can appear in dreams as living symbols of influence, memory, and unfinished emotion. When a deceased loved one returns, it may not mean they are visiting from beyond, but that something about their energy, wisdom, or unresolved relationship still lives in your mind. Their appearance is an invitation to integrate the lessons they represent. In the same way, dreaming of an old friend or an ex-partner might not signify a longing for reunion, but rather a call to confront the emotions still attached to that chapter of life. Forgiveness, regret, nostalgia, or growth. The unconscious uses these familiar forms to help you make peace with what remains unhealed. The idea that every person in a dream represents an aspect of you expands the understanding of human relationships beyond physical boundaries. It suggests that all encounters, both real and imagined, serve as mirrors reflecting your evolving consciousness. When someone challenges you in a dream, it mirrors the internal challenges you face in growth and transformation. When someone supports or saves you, it mirrors the inner strength that you may not have acknowledged yet. In this way, the dream world becomes a symbolic ecosystem of your own psyche, where every figure plays a role in your self-understanding. Dreams also expose the shifting relationship between your conscious identity and your unconscious potential. The person you are in the dream, the one who acts, reacts, feels, and observes, represents your waking self. The people around you reflect everything outside that limited awareness, repressed instincts, hidden desires, spiritual yearnings, emotional wounds, and creative possibilities. The interaction between these figures dramatizes the ongoing dialogue between your inner and outer worlds. When you run from someone, you might be avoiding a truth within yourself. When you chase someone, you might be seeking a quality you need to integrate. When you embrace another, it symbolizes acceptance and unity between divided aspects of the soul. Even dream relationships that seem romantic or passionate carry symbolic weight beyond surface attraction. The lover in a dream often personifies your longing for wholeness, the union of opposites within you, reason and feeling, strength and tenderness, logic and intuition. The love story becomes a metaphor for inner integration, showing your desire to reconcile conflicting forces into harmony. Similarly, when betrayal or loss occurs in a dream relationship, it may symbolize the pain of personal transformation, the death of outdated identities, or the emotional risk of becoming more authentic. Every character in your dream exists for a reason, shaped by memory, emotion, and imagination. Some may represent your higher potential, the wiser, braver, or freer version of yourself. Others may symbolize your limitations, fears, or past conditioning. Together, they form the cast of your inner theater, performing stories that reflect your evolving consciousness. The more you pay attention, the more you begin to recognize these patterns repeating across different dreams. The same archetypes wearing different faces, the same emotions disguised in new forms. To understand that every person in your dream is an aspect of you is to realize that the dream is never external. It is entirely intimate, unfolding within the sacred space of your own mind. The figures you meet there are fragments of your wholeness, calling for recognition. They speak not in words, but in gestures, expressions, and emotions that reveal truths about your current state of being. In listening to them, you begin to listen to yourself more deeply, uncovering the hidden dialogue that shapes your waking life as much as your dreaming one. Dreams speak in symbols, not logic, weaving the language of the unconscious through images, sensations, and emotions that defy the rules of waking reality. The rational mind seeks order, sequence, and reason, but the dream world belongs to a deeper intelligence, one that communicates in metaphors, not facts. What seems absurd, fragmented, or impossible within a dream is often the most meaningful, because it speaks the truth that cannot be expressed through ordinary words. The unconscious does not argue or explain, it shows. It paints its messages in vivid pictures that stir emotion rather than thought, guiding the dreamer to hidden truths that the waking mind overlooks or denies. In waking life, logic dominates perception. People interpret the world through cause and effect, through linear time and external proof. But when consciousness drifts into sleep, that surface logic dissolves. The dream realm operates according to emotional truth rather than literal truth. There you can be both child and adult, both observer and participant, both alive and elsewhere all at once. The mind constructs symbols that condense complex emotions and experiences into single, powerful images. A locked door might embody resistance, a bridge may represent transition, a storm could echo inner turmoil. These images bypass rational understanding to communicate directly with feeling, intuition, and memory. The symbolic language of dreams is as old as humanity itself. Long before science or psychology, people looked to dreams as messages from gods, ancestors, or destiny. What they sensed intuitively is still true. Dreams do carry messages, though their origin lies not in the heavens, but in the hidden depths of the self. The unconscious mind does not speak English or any human language. It speaks in symbols, because symbols are universal. They transcend words and cultural limits, reaching the most primitive and emotional parts of the psyche. Fire represents transformation or destruction. Water reflects emotion and depth. Animals mirror instinct and energy. And light often signifies awareness or spiritual awakening. Each symbol carries layers of meaning shaped by both personal experience and collective imagery inherited through generations. Symbols in dreams are not static, they are alive, shifting according to the dreamer's inner state. The same symbol can mean different things for different people. A snake, for one person, might embody danger or betrayal. For another, it could represent wisdom, healing, or rebirth. The meaning depends on the dreamer's emotional reaction. The unconscious tailors its language to the individual, using familiar forms to express personal truths. To interpret a dream, one must not look outward to dictionaries of symbols, but inward to feeling. What matters is not what the image means universally, but what it evokes personally. The emotion that accompanies it, the memory it stirs, the sensation it leaves behind. The dream's logic is emotional, not analytical. Because dreams speak in symbols, they often exaggerate or distort reality to capture deeper meaning. They combine opposites, collapse timelines, and break physical laws to express what ordinary perception cannot contain. You might find yourself falling endlessly, speaking with someone long gone, or standing in a place that feels both familiar and alien. These impossibilities reveal truths too vast for waking consciousness to hold. A dream of falling may not warn of danger, but reflect insecurity, loss of control, or surrender. A dream of flight may symbolize freedom, transcendence, or the awakening of creative power. The irrational becomes the key to understanding what the rational mind cannot articulate. Dreams use symbols to condense emotion into image, but they also use narrative to weave those images into experience. A dream may appear to tell a story of chase, conflict, reunion, or discovery, yet its structure is symbolic rather than linear. Each event, each object, each interaction represents a part of the dreamer's psyche engaging with another. The monster that chases you may represent the fear you avoid. The house you wander through may be your own mind. Each room, a different aspect of memory. The dream is a living metaphor of the inner world, acting out the drama of your own unconscious in symbolic form. Logic resists paradox, but dreams thrive on it. They allow contradiction to coexist because the unconscious is not bound by reason. You can love and fear the same person, win and lose at once, die and continue living, all within the same dream. These contradictions reveal the complexity of the human psyche, where opposite forces coexist and seek balance. The dream does not choose sides, it expresses both, showing the inner tension that drives personal growth. By suspending logic, the unconscious creates space for emotional truth to emerge in its purest form. The symbolic nature of dreams also allows communication between the personal and the collective. Some images belong not just to one individual, but to humanity as a whole. They are archetypal, symbols that appear across cultures and centuries because they arise from the shared structure of the human mind. The mother, the hero, the shadow, the journey, the rebirth, these themes recur because they speak to universal experiences. When such symbols appear in your dreams, they connect your individual story to the larger story of humankind. They remind you that your private struggles, desires, and transformations mirror those of countless others, that the dream world is a common language spoken by all souls beneath the surface of waking difference. To understand that dreams speak in symbols, not logic, is to approach them not as puzzles to be solved, but as art to be felt. Each image carries layers of association that unfold gradually when approached with curiosity and openness. The dream does not yield meaning to forceful analysis. It reveals meaning through reflection, emotion, and intuition. The more you honor its symbols, the more they begin to speak. A simple object, a key, a mirror, a bird, may open doors to understanding that words alone could never reach. The dream offers not explanation but revelation, not reason but recognition. Its power lies in its ability to translate the invisible into the visible, the unconscious into the imaginable, through the poetic language of symbols that speak directly to the soul. Unresolved emotions create repeated appearances in dreams, because what the conscious mind avoids, the unconscious mind continues to express. Feelings that remain unacknowledged do not disappear, they transform into symbols, faces, and recurring stories that replay until they are understood. The psyche seeks balance, and when emotion is repressed or denied, the dream becomes its outlet, a stage where unfinished experiences demand recognition. Each time a person, place, or situation returns in your dreams, it is not random recurrence, but repetition with purpose. The mind is showing you that something within remains incomplete, waiting for closure, forgiveness, or acceptance. Dreams act as the emotional memory of the self, storing what daily awareness cannot process. When strong feelings like anger, guilt, love, or grief remain unresolved, they settle into the unconscious and seek expression through symbolic repetition. The unconscious does not distinguish between past and present. It lives in timeless immediacy, replaying what has not been emotionally digested. A recurring dream about someone from your past often reflects this ongoing inner process. It may not mean you miss the person, but rather that you still carry emotions linked to them: regret, longing, resentment, or confusion. The mind recreates their image so that you can confront the feelings that remain attached, giving shape to emotions that were never fully expressed. This is why the same person may appear in different scenarios across multiple dreams. Sometimes they return as comforters, sometimes as antagonists, sometimes as silent observers. Each appearance highlights a different emotional angle of the unresolved issue. If you feel anger toward them in one dream and sadness in another, it reflects the shifting stages of inner processing. The unconscious keeps bringing them back, not to torment you, but to remind you that emotional energy cannot vanish. It must be transformed. The repeated appearance is not about obsession or coincidence. It is the psyche's method of integration, a way of revisiting unhealed territory until it becomes whole. Repetition in dreams is often linked to moments in life where emotion was suppressed because expression felt unsafe, inappropriate, or overwhelming. Many people learn to silence their feelings to maintain control or protect themselves, but those silenced emotions do not die. They hide. They wait beneath consciousness until a dream provides the freedom to express what was once denied. When someone reappears night after night, it is the emotional echo of an unresolved story. The dream says what the waking self refuses to hear. It creates a cycle that continues until awareness bridges the gap between suppression and understanding. These repeated appearances may also carry lessons about patterns in behavior or thought. The people who return in dreams often symbolize recurring emotional themes rather than literal relationships. A demanding boss might represent authority issues rooted in childhood. A neglectful partner might symbolize a deeper fear of abandonment. When these figures keep resurfacing, the unconscious is drawing attention to the emotional scripts you continue to follow in waking life. The repetition is not punishment, but an invitation to notice the pattern, to question its origin, to release its grip. Once the emotion behind it is recognized and processed, the dream no longer needs to repeat it. The symbol dissolves when the lesson is learned. Unresolved emotions can also take on physical and sensory qualities within dreams. Guilt may appear as heaviness, fear as darkness, grief as water flooding the space around you. The returning faces act as carriers of these sensations, embodying the weight of emotion through story. A dream where someone repeatedly turns away might symbolize rejection that still hurts. A dream where you chase someone but never reach them might represent the frustration of closure that never arrived. These symbolic patterns externalize inner tension, allowing the psyche to rehearse and release emotion indirectly. The unconscious knows that emotional energy must move, and if it cannot do so in waking life, it will find movement in dreams. The repetition of unresolved emotions also ties to the concept of psychic compensation. The unconscious attempts to restore equilibrium by bringing neglected feelings into awareness. If the waking self insists on detachment, the dreaming self insists on confrontation. Someone who pretends indifference after a painful breakup may continue to dream of their former partner, not because they wish for reunion, but because their hidden sorrow demands acknowledgement. The dream keeps returning until the emotional truth is accepted. Once the feeling is allowed to exist without denial, the dream's intensity fades naturally. Sometimes unresolved emotions manifest not as specific people, but as recurring scenarios. The same conflict, the same house, the same journey unfinished. Yet, when a particular person keeps appearing, it often indicates that the unresolved emotion is relational in nature. Human relationships leave deep emotional imprints. They shape identity, trust, and belonging. When those bonds end abruptly or painfully, the psyche carries residual energy tied to the image of that person. Dreams use that image as a vessel to process attachment and loss. The person's repeated appearance is not about them as an individual, but about what their presence once represented. Safety, rejection, desire, or disappointment. The unconscious reanimates that representation until emotional resolution is achieved. The persistence of these dream figures reveals the emotional honesty of the unconscious. While the waking mind may rewrite memories or rationalize feelings, the dreaming mind cannot lie. It continues to show the raw, unfiltered truth of what remains emotionally alive within. Each repeated appearance is a message. Something within you is still vibrating with unfinished energy. The dream does not let it go because you have not yet let it go. Understanding this shifts the perspective from frustration to compassion. Instead of asking why the same person keeps showing up, one begins to ask what emotion keeps calling for release. Unresolved emotions are cyclical, and dreams mirror that cycle. They replay the same story until the emotional charge begins to weaken, until understanding replaces resistance. What you refuse to face in daylight becomes the visitor that follows you into the night. These recurring appearances are not hauntings from the past, but mirrors of the present state of your heart. The dream keeps rewriting the scene, changing its setting and tone, until you finally feel what you were once unable to feel, until the emotion is seen, heard, and allowed to transform. Dreams guide you toward wholeness by revealing the hidden parts of yourself that seek recognition, balance, and integration. The human mind is not a single unified entity, but a complex system of conscious thoughts, unconscious desires, forgotten memories, and buried instincts. Within waking life, people often identify only with their conscious persona, the version of themselves they show to the world, while the rest remains concealed beneath awareness. Dreams act as the bridge between these divided realms, giving form and voice to the unseen. Through their symbolic language, they illuminate what is missing, what is denied, and what must be embraced to become psychologically complete. Wholeness is not perfection, it is the acceptance of all aspects of the self, light and shadow, strength and weakness, love and fear. Dreams emerge from the unconscious to remind you of what you have rejected or ignored. They bring opposites into conversation, showing the tension between who you think you are and who you truly are. When you dream of conflict, pursuit, or transformation, the images are often dramatizing the struggle between divided parts of the psyche. The dream reveals what your conscious mind resists, the emotions you suppress, the instincts you deny, the truths you refuse to admit. By confronting them in the dream world, you begin to integrate them into waking awareness, taking another step toward inner wholeness. Dreams serve as nightly messages from the deeper layers of being, guiding you to restore harmony where imbalance exists. When life feels fragmented or confusing, dreams reassemble the pieces, showing the path toward unity. They do this not by preaching or instructing, but by presenting experiences that mirror the state of your inner world. A dream of losing something precious might reflect a disconnection from your values or creativity. A dream of being trapped may symbolize the confinement of unexpressed potential. Each image is a clue to where healing is needed, pointing you back toward the forgotten corners of your own nature. The unconscious mind speaks in this way because wholeness cannot be achieved through reason alone. It must involve the feeling, instinctive and intuitive dimensions as well. In the pursuit of wholeness, the dream becomes both compass and mirror. It reflects your current psychological state while also pointing to the direction of growth. If you are rigid and overly controlled, your dreams might erupt with chaos and unpredictability, balancing the excess of order with images of freedom. If you are lost in uncertainty, your dreams may present symbols of structure or guidance, a mentor, a map, a light. The unconscious continually compensates for what is lacking, pushing you toward balance. Dreams are not random illusions, but precise emotional mechanisms designed to restore equilibrium between the conscious and unconscious mind. They reveal where harmony has been broken and gently guide you toward integration. One of the ways dreams guide you toward wholeness is by reuniting you with the shadow, the hidden aspects of your personality that you have disowned. The shadow includes traits you deny because they conflict with your self-image, anger, jealousy, selfishness, vulnerability, but also forgotten strengths and passions. Dreams bring the shadow to life through characters, situations, or symbols that challenge your comfort zone. You might encounter an enemy, a monster, or a version of yourself you do not recognize. These figures are not there to harm you, but to show what you have pushed away. By facing them without fear, you begin to reclaim the energy they hold. Every part of you, even the dark or uncomfortable, contains wisdom essential for wholeness. The dream invites you to acknowledge it, to accept that growth requires embracing the full spectrum of your humanity. Dreams also help heal emotional wounds by transforming pain into understanding. The unconscious mind does not forget trauma or disappointment. It stores them until the psyche is ready to process them. When old memories resurface in dreams, they are not merely replays, but opportunities for reconciliation. The mind reimagines the past in symbolic form so that you can see it from a new perspective. A dream in which you comfort your younger self may signify emotional integration, an act of self-compassion that bridges past and present. These experiences within the dream world are forms of inner healing, the psyche rewriting its own story to restore harmony and strength. Dreams often bring forward creative insights and intuitive wisdom, connecting you to the deeper intelligence of the psyche. They show you possibilities your conscious mind cannot conceive because logic limits imagination. Through symbols, metaphors, and archetypal imagery, dreams reveal hidden potentials, talents, desires, or spiritual yearnings that point the way to your authentic self. When you follow the guidance of your dreams, you begin to live with greater alignment, expressing more of who you truly are. Wholeness is not about adding something new, but remembering what has been forgotten within you. The dream acts as a lantern in the darkness, illuminating the way back to that forgotten truth. Dreams also unify the different layers of experience, the personal and the collective, the emotional and the spiritual. Sometimes they connect you to universal symbols that transcend individuality, showing that your personal journey reflects a larger human process. The dream of rebirth, for instance, may symbolize psychological transformation, the death of an old identity and the emergence of a new one. The dream of flight may represent transcendence beyond limitation. Through these shared symbols, the psyche reminds you that your individual path is part of a greater pattern. That wholeness extends beyond personal healing into connection with life itself. As the mind navigates its daily struggles, it becomes easy to lose sight of the inner unity beneath the surface. Dreams restore that connection. They weave together emotion, memory, intuition, and instinct, reminding you that you are more than your conscious thoughts. Each night, the dream reorganizes the fragments of experience into a tapestry of meaning, revealing the deeper harmony that underlies apparent chaos. The more you listen to your dreams, the more clearly you see the relationship between your inner world and your outer life. They show where you are divided, where you are whole, and where you are still becoming. Through this ongoing dialogue between the conscious and unconscious, dreams quietly lead you back to yourself, to the center where all opposites meet and every part of your being finds its rightful place.